I'm Ezra Levant for the Rebel.media. I have been here in London all day, although I only needed 15 minutes. That's how brief the procedure was in Court 4 of the Court of Appeal, where the Lord Chief Justice announced that he was accepting Tommy Robinson's appeal and dismissing the contempt conviction against him in Leeds, granting him bail and sending him home. It was so sudden, it was startling. I've since reviewed the decision in some detail of the judge, and I have another video on that. But I would like to share with you some information that I have not properly vented, either during the appeal hearing itself or earlier today. I want to talk to you a little bit about Tommy's treatment in prison. And I say again, according to the 3-judge panel of the Court of Appeal, Tommy should not have been in prison. And even if he ought to have been in prison, his treatment in prison was inappropriate. So let's put aside the court ruling, and let me just tell you the facts about what Tommy has lived through since that May 25th sentence. Remember that Tommy first was sent to Her Majesty's Prison, Hull, which, from what I can understand, is one of the safer prisons in the United Kingdom for Tommy. By safer, I don't mean that it's not full of criminals, of course it is, but it is not dominated by Muslim prison gangs. Understand that in many prisons in the UK, there are an awful lot of Muslims in prison for offenses, including violent offenses, even including for terrorism. But an awful lot of people who go to prison convert to Islam to be protected by the Muslim gang. If you convert to Islam, you will be protected by the other Muslim prisoners. If you do not, you're at risk of violence. This gang effectively runs the prison. They're run in a halal manner. 5 prayers a day, halal food. They're the bosses, and they can carry out fatwas within prison. So Tommy was transferred from Her Majesty's Prison Hull to HMP Onley, a much more Islamized prison. There was no warning, explanation, or appeal given whatsoever. This was not done by the courts. This was done by some nameless, faceless political bureaucrat buried within the prison system. It's a disgrace, and we need to find out who did that, because there's only one reason to move Tommy from a safer prison to Her Majesty's Prison Onley, and that is either to get Tommy killed at the hands of a Muslim prison gang, or to force him to do what they knew he would do, because he's done it before, to request to be put in solitary confinement to save his own life. But the thing is, you cannot live for 13 months in solitary confinement. You'll go mad. It would be regarded as torture. But that's where Tommy was placed. And let me tell you some facts I have learned about what it's like. I mean, it's bad enough that Tommy's in solitary, but let me tell you some examples of what the prison did to him when he was in jail. Prisoners would regularly be given access to the front of Tommy's cell, and they would open up the flap to his cell and shout at him threats. And this was permitted by the prison. It's obviously a form of psychological torture. Let me give you more examples. There is a window in Tommy's cell for a breeze in the hot summer, but prisoners were permitted to go up to the window and spit into Tommy's cell, which is a form of assault and battery, and it's gross, and it's psychologically abusive. So Tommy had to shut his window in this particularly hot British summer. Tommy's cell door, remember, he was in his cell, and it was locked. He was locked in to protect him from the other prisoner. Well, on at least 3 occasions, his cell door was accidentally not locked. Accidentally, eh? Be a shame if an accident happened to Tommy in prison. Who was it in the British prison system who was trying to get Tommy murdered? Tommy was only allowed to phone home during the lunch hour, so he was unable to speak with his children because they were at school. That is an arbitrary and punitive decision by the prison. And as I reported when I was at the hearing, On 3 occasions when Tommy's lawyers tried to meet with him, on one occasion, that meeting was canceled by the prison. No explanation, no warning, no appeal, just canceled. That's how you treat a political prisoner. That's not a prisoner in the UK, is it? And on the 2 occasions they did meet, those meetings were cut short. The jailers slow-walked, took their time to bring Tommy to the lawyers, cut those legal meetings in half. That's one of the reasons Tommy's delay was filed late, because he couldn't get a proper meeting with the lawyers. Let me ask you a question. Some would say that solitary confinement is a form of torture. I don't know about that, but I know it is for 13 months. And I know it is for 13 months where other prisoners are allowed to come right up to you and shout threats into your prison, threats of murder, and threats against Tommy's wife. I know it's a form of torture when people are allowed to spit at you with the permission or the blind eye, the willfully blind eye of the prison authorities, so much so that he had to bake in this hot British summer. And we now know, because of the court appeal ruling today, that not only was this conviction a false conviction, not only was it legally inappropriate and flawed in every way, not only do we know that a 13-month imprisonment was absurdly disproportionate, but we also know that deeming Tommy a criminal, where in fact contempt of court in this case was not a crime, put him in this abusive position falsely. Every single thing that Tommy and his supporters have said was vindicated today. I'm so glad he's going home. But you know what? Justice is not fully done. Tommy's conviction was quashed, but we still don't know who or why Tommy was treated this way in prison, why he was sent to a more dangerous prison, and why this abusive treatment of him was countenanced by the prison authorities. That demands to be answered. For the Rebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant. I'm back in London covering Tommy Robinson's appeal because I don't believe a word the mainstream media has to say about him. To support my journalism, including the cost of my airfare and hotel to get here, please go to TommyTrial.com.